I've been working in the strip mine all the livelong day. I've been working in the strip mine because I blew Kazan away. Or maybe that was Deathwing. It could have been me, but it could have also been Deathwing. It kind of happened at the same time as the Cataclysm. We can't be sure because correlation is not equal causation. Gallywig's trying to blame me for it anyway, and it kind of stuck, but whatever, I think he's just jealous of my hair. My name's Totalbiscuit of the WoW podcast, Blue Please on CynicalBrit.com. That night elf just created a tree trunk out of thin air. I'm pretty sure it wasn't supposed to do that. Welcome to the second part of this Azshara leveling series with, hi YouTube, the Goblin Rogue now currently sitting at level 14. I must apologise in advance, this video is not as complete as I wanted it to be. I wanted a lot of things yesterday. I wanted an ice cream. I wanted a delicious sandwich. I wanted to be able to film in Azshara without issue. None of those things happened. Well, I kind of got a sandwich, but it wasn't that delicious. It's cheese. Just cheese. So, this video will be slightly shorter than it should be, and we'll have a lot of cutting out, and yeah, you know how it goes. Whatever the case, I need to try and provide you with content today because we're having to re-download all of Cataclysm. I do mean all of it. 17 glorious gigabytes of Cataclysm beta are being re-downloaded as we speak because they've released a new launcher which has streaming technology. Now, I tried the streaming technology and it didn't really work all that well, so I can't exactly film while it's doing that. Never mind, this is footage that I took yesterday, and this is the set of quests that we have to do after the killing of the Ancient. This is a little bit less epic, I must say. We slew an Ancient, slaughtered thousands of Night Elves, and what do they want us to do? Dig. Just go dig some stuff up, get some things from the mines, and bring back one of the frozen Goblin miners who have been locked into a stony trance by the basilisks. Unpleasant. So what happened was, when we started digging, well, there used to be some subterranean basilisks. Then we started digging. Now they are terranean basilisks. They are wandering around and freezing the miners, which is not so great. We've also been asked to help bring in the quota of mountain foot ingots, which is an ore that is particularly brittle, but apparently is okay because it passes Goblin's safety standards after a few bribes. I wish I was making that up. Actually, no, I don't. Goblins are hilarious. That is actually part of the quest text, as you will have noticed. Now, those black characters right there are the frozen miners. The problem is right now that in the beta, the miners are bugged. What that means is you can't pick the vast majority of them up. That's not too bad here, because we've only got to find one, but it becomes an absolute nightmare later on, and you will see why. So yes, kill some basilisks, get some ingots, and grab a stonified miner to bring back for inspection. Ah, an ingot. Fantastic. Now, I do have a few issues with the way that this area is currently set up, and feedback was submitted by not just me, but with someone I ended up leveling with a little bit later just to try and speed this area up. For one thing, they're asking for 20 mountain foot ingots. Bear in mind, these things despawn when you click on them. So, think about how much of an absolute nightmare this is going to be on launch day. Right now, there's about 3 or 4 people in this zone at present. And yet still, it takes a long time to find all the ingots you need. A little bit of a pain. Also, the current basilisk spawn rate is far too low. You'll see dead basilisks all over the place. They respawn very slowly indeed. Of course, on launch day, this is going to be scaled so that things should respawn faster depending on how many people are in the zone. But if this is any indication of the scaling, then that needs to be increased. What I'd also say in terms of collecting 20 mountain foot ingots, I mean, really? 20? Why 20? That seems like an excessive number. We talked about this in the Lost Isles video in the finale. What we said was, if you're going to have quests that run alongside each other in the same area, you should try and balance the numbers so that you finish all of them at roughly the same time. Say, if you've got a kill quest and a drop quest, and yet you get the drops way before you finish all the kills, or vice versa, it becomes a bit of a pain in the ass, because you're running around and you don't feel like you're questing optimally. There we go, we've grabbed a goblin, actually found one that worked, amazing, and we found some basilisks as well. Oh, it looks like there's some ingots here too, convenient. You'll note there a goblin warlock in the background with a fell guard, yes indeed. You can get one, doesn't look like I caught that one quick enough. Oh well, never mind, just invite him to the group and everything should be fine. one would think. But no, even in the beta, some people are not particularly sensible. So, I saw this guy hanging around this zone for about 20 minutes, trying to get all of the stuff that he needed, and yet he declined my invitation to a group, which is just senseless. It really is. I don't know why you would do that. Whatever the case, his loss. Unfortunately, it's also mine, because it means there are less mobs that I can kill. Now, you noticed up there on the little platform, there is a pile of ingots, and we can go see those in a moment. They can get you multiple ingots, so it does speed things up a little bit, but not quite as much as I would like. You'll also note the chat right there, people saying, what the hell's going on with the Stone Cold quest? Yeah, it's broken. It's very difficult to actually find a goblin that you can pick up and is clickable. You'll notice why that's such a terrible thing a little bit later, because there's another quest involving these, which isn't just a single pickup. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now, I'm going to speed up the rest of this, because this entire video is going to be me running around doing a lot of this stuff. It's unfortunate, but that's simply the way of it. What you will also notice in the background, which I do like, is the fact that there is still a war going on. The Night Elves do not like this at all. I like that even in the starting zone, they're trying to portray this image of war, and indeed, the NPCs can actually kill each other. Also hurt quite a bit. I'll get those out of the way. Great, we've got half the basilisks we need. Finding the rest is going to be a bit of a pain. What I will show you is this, though. You can actually attack these. Now, there is no real purpose to that, other than, well, you're about to find out. A little bit of fireworks. Standing next to it does quite a bit of damage and throws you all the way over there. Now, the NPCs will actually attack those boxes, so you don't want to be standing too close if that happens. It's a neat little feature, and I like the fact that it makes the zone feel a little bit more alive. The mission of the Night Elves here is to sabotage the mining efforts, and they're doing so by blowing up explosive stockpiles. It's very cool. It makes the zone feel more animated and alive. Now, speaking of stockpiles, we managed to find one that consisted of a bunch of ingots, and we got 5 out of that. That looks good. It looks like there's about maybe 15 there. And it gives us 2. Really? 2. Let's think about the impracticalities of this particular quest. For one thing, we're looking around a full-sized goblin, as well as supposedly 20 very heavy ingots of ore. On top of that, the piles of ingots that are very clearly right there. It's like, hey, take me, take all of me. That's all you need. Look, there's like 15 ingots there. Let's check. How many's it got? 1. Why? Why, Blizzard? Please, explain to me why. This is the kind of quest that puts me off questing for a very long time, I must say. Could be worse, could be Mulgore. Oh well. Let's speed things up a bit and see if we can get on to the next part of the quest. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? I'm not suggesting that these are bad quests, honestly. They're just generic. And that's fine. You're gonna have some generic stuff every now and again. But what you do need to look at is the balance of said generic quests, because if they take too long and you spend more time doing something generic and dull than, say, blowing up things with a shredder grenade launcher, then you're gonna view the game in a pretty negative light. Say hello to Twizzly, ladies and gentlemen. Twizzly is a bit better than that warlock. Twizzly accepts invites. It's pretty awesome. That means that me and Twizzly can share the mob kills. It's a magical, wonderful place that we live in. Everyone say hi to Twizzly. Hi, Twizzly! Ooh, a green. Wonderful. Now, let's see if with our powers combined we can be Captain Planet. The answer is no, we cannot. However, we can complete the quest together. Grab some iron, try and find some basilisks. I suppose, while we're doing shoutouts, might as well say hello to Roderick, who has been sending me messages here. So, you might be thinking, well, Totalbiscuit, your criticism is ridiculous. You're whining, you're complaining, and you certainly couldn't do better. How would you make these quests more interesting? Well, picking up ingots is never going to be interesting. Killing mobs, generally speaking, is never going to be interesting, so think about it for a second. So the basilisks have been turning miners to stone, and yet they can't do it to me. So that's some random contrivance of me being a hero, right? Well, how about they outfit me with something that I've got to use at a specific time in order to stop me from being turned to stone. You remember back in the Worgen area where you had that talisman that got you out of the freezing trap? How about we could get, say, a little goblin mirror and use the mirror to do that and... What? What? Why would you... You bastard! I'm gonna say, I'm not entirely certain that his method of beta testing is optimal. So he's testing what? His ability to fly over a low-level zone and kill their mobs? I see. Right, well, he is the premier tester for Blizzard in that regard, and I'm sure Blizzard are going to be very happy with him. I, on the other hand, would like to throw him down a well. Seriously. Ah, look, basilisks. They're not spawning. I finally found one, and what happens? A level 80 Blood Elf Retidin flies over and ganks the mob. Why did I know it was going to be a Blood Elf Retidin, of all things? There are times, ladies and gentlemen, that I would love to be able to set people on fire over the internet. But we can't always get what we want, I guess. Now, thanks to Twizzly, she managed to locate one all the way down there. I got the credit for it, and I killed that, and we are good to go. Awesome. I've been told that this is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. This might surprise some of you. What I've also been told is that solo play is non-optimal, and that to get the best rewards and do so in the fastest manner possible, you have to work with other people. Now, I can understand that other people have cooties. Females specifically, they've definitely got double cooties. And what happens there is if you work with them, you get cooties too. However, you need to risk that, and you need to just work past it and work with other people. Is that reasonable? Does that sound okay? Apparently to some people it doesn't, and those are the guys that are not helping the development of this game at all. I want to solo everything, then go play Oblivion. Actually, come to think of it, go play a better game. Go play The Witcher. Many thanks to Twizzly there, who honestly didn't even have to help me there, but did anyway. That's an example of a great beta tester. And shout out is so given. Right, well, we still have that goblin on our back, and I think we've got to deal with that. So let's head on back to the questing hub over there, just underneath the rocket way. I will put up another version of the Azshara tour video so you can actually see the rocket way in action, as well as the rest of the stuff from the air. But I've got to replace the copyright music in there. Your normal, everyday YouTuber doesn't really have to worry about that so much, but you might have noticed some changes to the channel, as well as the rather large number of people watching this. You've got to be a little bit more careful at that point. Oh dear, I think I broke it. It slipped off my back. How did I carry it around for 20 minutes? And then, after all of that, it slipped off my back. I'm not happy at all. I like this at all. Can't even make them into bricks. Goblins. Goblin quest text is the best quest text. You could get me to read this because it's just generally so funny. Okay, we've dealt with the basilisks, and we have retrieved bits of a worker. Something needs to be done about that, I think. So, here's what we've got to do. We have to find a better method of rescuing those workers, because if we don't rescue them, they can't work. And that's no good at all. Don't worry, he isn't concerned for their well-being, he's just concerned about his quotas. Perfect goblin logic. Now, the way in which we are able to rescue those workers is to find, firstly, a perfect prism. A crystal pendant, which apparently the Night Elf saboteurs have in abundance. So we're going to get one of those, and then we're going to do something suitably goblin-y with it. What does that involve? Lasers, explosions, epic rock music. You know how it goes. Now, most of these end up being broken vendor trash, but eventually you will get the spawn that you're looking for. People were complaining I wasn't using the rocket enough, so there you go. It scales with levels, so it's actually quite effective. Good initiative for a rogue, specifically. There we go, we have a crystal pendant. So, we need to head inside the HQ and see what we can do with it. Now, this is kind of neat. They set up a radio right here so that you can continue the quest in an immersive fashion instead of report back to him. No, we can just use this strange technology. Time for some science. Prism break. Seriously? They've got one guy in the office that's just dedicated to writing these things. They have him in some kind of isolation chamber, because if he inflicted it on any of the other Blizzard employees, they'd punch him in the face. So what do? We combine it with a mining laser to make a something, yes. But in the meantime, we're attacked by a named mob, which is kind of neat. I like that. Hey, look, it's a scripted event. Sweet. What purpose does it serve? Well, none really, other than to keep you on your toes and make you feel like you're in a zone where the mobs are actually actively trying to kill you, as opposed to wandering around at random. That's what I like about this. Think about the Barrens, for instance. All you've got is characters wandering around and monsters are all over the place, but they're not really doing anything particular. Here, the Night Elves are here for a reason. They patrol, they try and blow up explosives, and they will try and kill you, and if they can't find you, they will kill the Horde guards, or at least try to. That, to me, is a big advance in terms of visually portraying a story without needing quest text. The visual element is so very important in computer games. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, what's better? Giving people a ream of text to read in the quest, and then letting them sort of imagine from there on in what's actually going on? Well, back in the day that worked, but right now, the best thing you can do, now that you've got the technology to do it, is to actually show people. So, we need to engage in some refreshification. And the way we're going to do that is to go and find one of those mobs. Now, I was telling you, hey, most of these mobs don't work. You can't click on them. That is correct. I managed to find one, and you want to know how long it took me to get the other 8? 25 minutes. I wish I was kidding. And then the server crashed. I wish I was kidding about that too. My name's been Totalbiscuit. This has been another look at Azshara leveling with the Goblin. I'll see you next time. When the server works. Maybe.